Hey, what's going on, Cash Flow Hackers? It's Chris with Life 180, and today I am really excited because I've got a gentleman who has, I'm going to say you've impacted millions of lives. And I've been aware of you for over a decade. John Gordon is with me. John wrote the book. My first introduction to you, John, was The Energy Bus back in the day. And I remember when I read that, at that time, I was kind of, I was at my former company and I was building teams. And that was one of the books that I read. And I required every agent that joined my team to read that book because it was like, it changed my perspective on leadership, on business, and everything. And it really helped kind of give me a framework to operate in. And it was early in my self-development days, when I was going through that. And so it was a really cool catalyst to help me take some big steps forward.
Well,
And
Chris, that means a lot. That means a ton. You know what's really cool is that my book influenced you, and then you
yeah,
impacted my son because my son was looking into the space that you dominate, and he just loved your work, was a huge fan, was showing me your videos, like, Dad, this guy, Chris, he's the man, Dad,
oh,
you gotta
that's
watch this. And so really cool that you impacted my son. So it's a nice
oh,
full circle.
thanks, brother. Yeah, that's so awesome. So I got so many questions for you. Obviously our audience is mostly financial coaches, life insurance agents, people in the financial services space. But you just came out with this new book, Seven Commitments of a Great Team. I got into it a little bit. It just got released. It just got dropped. So I haven't been able to read the whole thing yet, but I got into it a little bit and I've been researching and whatever. It seems like a fascinating book. Can you kind of tell me? Obviously you've written tons of books. They're all in the background right there, right? Like, so you've written a lot of books, but like, what was the inspiration for this book?
So I've written 31 books. This is actually 32. So
31.
this is 32. And I feel like I've been writing this book my entire life, 54
Wow.
years, but it
Wow.
only took me 16 days to write this one. This one is
Seriously.
special. Yeah, 16 days. This one is
So you
special.
just
And it
flowed.
flowed. Energy Bus about 3.5 weeks. Carpenter, which is another great one for people in your industry, for
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, for business builders. Love the Carpenter. That took about 3.5, 4 weeks. But this
Mm.
one's 16 days. And it's about the seven commitments that make a great team great, right? What really
Yeah.
makes a team great. And it's about the commitments that you make as a team. And I've been working with so
Mm.
many teams now in business, in healthcare, education, and sports. A lot of sports teams I've worked with, we're talking the LA Rams, we're Chicago Bears,
Yeah.
we're talking New York Yankees recently, LA Dodgers, Miami Heat, a lot of great teams out there, a lot of great coaches I get to work with. And I really have firsthand done a lot of programs and a lot of talks to these teams. And over the years, I saw what teams needed, what
Mm.
made a bad team, what made a great team, why a team underperformed, and what caused the team to unite, join together, and perform at a high level, even when they didn't have a ton of talent. Talent is
Mm.
key. You got to have talent,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you got to have the culture and the commitments that drive the talent towards greatness. And
Mm.
so this book is like that recipe. This book is that framework. And it's what you need to do to be a great team, the commitments you need to make. And then also, what's really cool is you actually follow this team in the book, and coach takes this team along the journey and teaches a bunch of different interactive exercises they do that you watch this
Ah.
team grow together in real time through the characters. And
Oh, that's awesome.
all the teammates were actually based, well, I shouldn't say based, but named after my teammates.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, my teammates from college. I played lacrosse at Cornell University. As
Oh, no
we are
way.
talking, yeah, after we talk, I'm flying to Boston to go see the Final Four. Cornell is in the Final Four, my alma mater. We were not as great of a team. We never made it to the Final Four when I played. So we're now going to hopefully celebrate these guys. But we were part of the same family, the same program, and a lot of my teammates are actually going to be in Boston, so I'll see them. I'm going to give a couple of guys the book when I'm there.
That's amazing. So one of the things that I teach in my culture, in my company, and for life insurance agents is I always say people struggle with money because their money is not in alignment with their values and beliefs, and
Yep.
people just don't know how to use money as a tool to create a life that's meaningful to them. And, so that's my passion. You've always, and I love the alignment, and like a lot of the stuff I've got, like I said, I learned from reading some of your content and like just kind of morphed it into my own stuff. Right. And you always talk about leadership is from the inside out. Right.
Always.
And I think that's where, for me, I look at it as like alignment. We got to create alignment. And so when you talk about leadership coming from the inside out, and this book, like, how does this book kind of help teams come at it from that perspective and create alignment by doing that?
Well, when you align on the commitments, a common vision and mission, where are we
Yeah.
going?
Yeah.
And why are we going there? So as a team, you commit to the vision and mission of the team. So your individual commitment contributes to the bigger commitment of the team. So that's essential right there. You
Nice.
commit to staying positive together through adversity and challenges. You decide, hey, this is how we're going to deal with adversity. This is how we're going to deal with a setback. When we face a challenge, we face a setback, we face an adversary along the way, because every team will face an adversary. How do we respond as that team? You
Yeah.
decide before it even happens how you're going to respond. You decide the attitude you're going to have and you
Mm,
commit to that. That creates alignment. When you commit to getting better together, that's a key alignment. When you commit to each other, which is a part of the book, a big part of the book, you can't just
yeah.
commit to the vision.
Right.
You can't just commit to ultimately the same values, which is important. You got
Yeah.
to commit to each other. Like there's a primal level of commitment that happens when I know, Chris, you got my back.
Yeah.
I got your back. I'll sacrifice for you. You'll sacrifice for me. We
Mm,
will serve each other. We will commit to each other. We will fight for each other. And when you have trust and you have commitment, you then get a team that is powerful and accomplishes more than anyone ever thought possible with those kind of commitments. So the alignment is key as you're talking about. And also, through my work with teams, I've seen when a team is disconnected and divided, they're a weak team. When they're
mm,
united and connected, they become a very powerful team. But we don't
yeah.
intentionally build teams. A lot of times we talk about it, but we don't actually do it. Every team today has a mission statement, but only the great ones have people on a mission.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
about inside out is all about I'm going to invest in the roots. And
Mm,
if I invest in the root, I get a great supply of fruit. If I focus on the fruit of the tree and I ignore the tree dies. So I'm going to
yep.
make sure I take care of that inside, that spirit, that passion, that soul, that work ethic, that drive, like why I'm really doing this. And values are a key part of this. Like, what do I value? What is
Yeah.
important to me? What do I stand for? What do we stand for as a team? That is the inside. That's the power. And then from there, you create your outcome, your results, and your fruit from that power on the inside.
I love that. I mean, they're just principles, right? That are absolute. It doesn't matter. I mean, you're basically, what I heard at the beginning of that is you're taking a lot of the stuff that is taught in the military, that's taught in sports, that's taught at the highest level, that a lot of the things that the greatest coaches of all time, have really embodied to become the greatest coaches. And you're bringing those principles to the business world as well.
Yes. And I
And
see the same principles
yeah,
apply in
yeah,
work, in business, in sports. I just had an event called Training Camp, and we
okay,
had Sean McVay there, Super Bowl
nice,
champion, Dabo Sweeney, two-time national champion. We had Mac Brown, Hall of Famer, amazing guy,
nice,
Trent Dilfer. We had
nice.
Eddie George, Kevin O'Connell. I mean, on and on, like the
Wow.
most incredible coaches. And the audience was mostly business. So business audience, and
Yep.
then these elite coaches. And you know what? Everyone got along great. Everyone loved it because they were all speaking the same language. How do I recruit people on my sports team or my work team? How do I
Yeah.
retain people? How do I lead
So
with optimism and belief? How do I develop the relationships? Here's the key though, Chris. I'm really big. My mission is to develop positive leaders who
mm,
make a positive impact in every business, school, team, organization, and community around the world. And positive leadership is this: it's principles, but
yep.
also practices. So we can teach the principles, but we've got to implement the practices in our teams, in our companies, in our organizations. And I think that's what's unique and different about the work we do. We inform with principles, we transform with practices.
It's execution. What's interesting is so this life insurance space that I work in, right? It's I don't know if you know the numbers, but it's really atrocious. It's we're talking a 93% failure rate in the first 3 years.
Yep.
93% failure rate. And so a lot of people come in and they get excited, right? And I think they maybe plug into the wrong teams or they don't have enough of a commitment, right? There's a lot of it's so easy to get your license and maybe people are lost or there's a lot of different reasons, but with all the coaching that you've done and all the things that you see with people, what do you think it is that like maybe one or two easy changes, easy commitments, easy internal talks to create that inside out kind of self leadership, so somebody can like step in and become a leader rather than trying to follow other leadership? I don't know if
Yeah,
that question makes
I've
total sense or not.
spoken. No, I've spoken to a lot of life insurance
Okay,
companies over the
nice.
years and a lot of life insurance people. So I know that work. This one guy was selling me a policy. I'll never forget. Years ago, I was in my early 30s, and he's like, "John, I want to sell you this life insurance. You can use it for your family." I said, "I don't need life insurance." I said, "I believe in God, and God will take care of me and my family if I die." He goes, "John, God invented life insurance." And he
Amen.
sold me right then. I said, "What a great lie! Like God invented life insurance." And so been a big fan of the industry since. Guess what? We all need life insurance.
Yeah.
Everyone needs it. Everyone wants to look out for their family when they go. So I'm gonna have life insurance. I'll have at least whole life and then term and others along the way as I continue to get older. It's important for the kids, important for my family, important for my wife. Unless my friend is a multi-billionaire and he says he doesn't need life insurance, so he's not using life insurance in that way. But when you're approaching this business and you're just starting out, yeah, I tell people all the time, it takes 5 years in reality to be successful with this. After 5 years, you'll know, okay, I got a great career and a great future with this. So
It's
you've
true.
got to have the grit to keep
Mm,
on going. You've got to have the grit and the desire. And it starts with a vision and mission for you individually. What is it you want
yep.
to build? What is it you want to create? So I know what I'm working towards and I've got a
Mm,
vision. I can see it. And if you can see it, you have the power to make it happen. But you got to make sure that you see it and have the vision. Then you have to be honest with yourself in this business. As you said, a lot of people think it's going to be easy. I'm going to meet with
yeah.
people. I'm going to meet with my friends. I'm going to talk to so and so, and I'm going to sell them. And oh, it's going to be awesome. And they hear
Yeah.
the success stories of the people on stage that are crushing it, but they don't realize how long it took that person to crush it. If you hear my story, it took my book, The Energy Bus, 5 years for it to be a bestseller. It
Did it
was
really?
it was rejected by over 30 publishers. So I really resonate with people in life insurance because I know what it's like to be told no. Rejection after rejection, your dream is not going to happen. What kept me going was the vision and mission. Also, knowing it's going to be hard. That's where we have to be
Mm,
honest with ourselves. This is going to be challenging.
yes.
This
Yes.
is going to be hard. Tell yourself that it's going to be challenging, but I know what I want and I'm willing to be optimistic, maintain my belief, and develop the mental toughness that I need to succeed as I move forward. And what
Love
I
that.
love to do is teach how to have that mindset, that mental toughness mindset in order to succeed. I can go from the leadership level to the cultural level, but also the individual mindset level, because having lived it and also speaking to audiences and sports teams over the years, that's what you got to have to succeed. So it's how are you perceiving the adversity, the
Mhm.
challenges? Everyone's going to face that hard thing, that challenge. So choose your hard. Is it worth it? And if this is worth it, you will fight for it. And if it's not, then guess what? Stop, leave,
Just,
and go
just
do something else from the very beginning.
yeah,
Don't
go do something
delude
else.
yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe you should delude yourself with optimism, because if you do every day, and delude yourself believing you can do it, and then you take the actions necessary to create it, then you will. Research from Duke University shows that optimists work harder, get paid more, and are more likely to succeed in business and sports. And what these researchers found was that these optimists, because they believed in a brighter and better future, they took the actions necessary to create it. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy. So often what we believe determines what we create. And those researchers actually said that these optimists deluded themselves into believing it was possible And because they did, they took the actions necessary. So I'm all big on diluting with action,
Yeah.
but don't delude yourself early on with pie in the sky Pollyanna. And then when it doesn't match when the challenge comes up and you're not realistic about the challenge, that's the challenge. That's the problem.
That's so well said. I always kind of tell people your outcomes are never going to be greater than your beliefs,
Yeah.
period. You
Yeah.
know, and that's like a non-negotiable principle. Like your outcomes are always going to be in alignment with your beliefs 100% of the time.
And as you rise higher, you will
Hmm.
face new devils. So new
Totally.
levels,
Yeah.
new devils. Your
Yep.
belief must rise higher too. You're at a level, I'm at a level right now
Yep.
where
Yep.
we're operating at a certain level where many years ago, man, I would have dreamed to be at this level. And now we're here, but we're having to make choices and we're
Yep.
having to rise higher in our belief to
Yep.
even go to the next step. You think it's going to be
Yep.
easy. No, it's actually
It's
harder
harder.
now in many
It's
ways. Bigger
totally.
choices, more opportunity to fail.
Yep.
You're going to fall farther if you do
It's
fail.
more public now if you do.
It's more public, exactly. And so our belief must continue to rise and continue to grow.
Totally. I love it. So a lot of our the people that follow the channel are people who are building teams, right? Who are agents. They're looking to build a downline, an agency kind
Yep.
of in their organization. And it's hard, right? Like leading from that level if they've never done it before, if they're stepping into it. How would you say that this new book, The Seven Commitments of Great Teams, would help them if they were to go through and read it? Like, what would be the core message that they would be able to take from that and implement and actually show up on a weekly basis, daily basis?
Well, honestly, my first step would be read the energy bus for yourself. Like, get
Yeah.
yourself right, get your mind right.
Yeah.
Then I would read The Carpenter, which is about love, serve, and care. It's
Okay.
about building greatness. These are the greatest success principles of all. So you want to make sure that you're going out loving what you do, loving others, and loving your team. You want to make sure you're serving them. As you serve them and you serve their growth and you see their potential and you invest in them and you coach them and mentor them, you're going to help them become successful. And
Mm,
then we know that caring really is a success strategy. If I show I care, well, so
totally.
many don't. And I care about my team, I care about my clients. What's going to happen? You're going to grow exponentially just by loving, serving, and caring. Because, Chris, most people do not care. So just by caring, you're going to outperform just about everybody else. I serve, care. So that's Carpenter. Then, okay, I'm getting people to my team, I'm getting them on the bus. Then the seven commitments is okay, now I've got this team that we're working with, and we're now going to commit to each other. And they're going to feel my commitment as a leader. And then I'm going to feel their commitment as a team member. And they're going to know, hey, this is what I expect from you. And this is what you can expect from me. There's a lot of love and accountability, which is a big part of the seven commitments. Love and accountability. I'm going to love
Totally.
you, but I'm going to hold you accountable to the standards, to our culture, to our principles, to our values, and also to the potential I see in you. Guess what? Everybody wants to be great. And everybody wants
Totally.
someone who can help them be great. So you take this book and you read this with your team and you say, how can we be great together? And you become
Mm,
great together by committing together. And that's really where you find the rubber, where the rubber meets the road in those moments. Like the rubber meets the road in terms of like actually doing the work, getting with your team, doing a bunch of the exercises that are in the book, going through those commitments, asking the questions. How
yeah.
can we get better? How can we be our best? Are you being your best? There's so many little nuances in the book, but it
Totally.
all adds up into like every commitment out of the seven has sub information, sub chapters, sub parts that take you to the next level. And as you go through it, but it's so simple. It's a really simple framework. And as you read this with your team, you can't hide anymore. Like you're going to see these are the seven commitments to be a great team. So if you know these commitments and you're not doing these commitments, guess what? You're not going to succeed. If I'm
Yeah.
doing them and you're not doing them, I'm going to know you're not doing them. So it
Yep.
really brings everything to the light. You can't hide in the darkness anymore. It brings it to the light. And now you have to
Ah,
decide, are we a great team? And you're going to get rid of people after reading this book, and
sure.
you're going to retain people even more, and you're going to find new people. That's the key. Everywhere I go,
That's the
Chris, when I
key.
speak, yeah, when I speak at these large companies and get paid a lot to do it, which I love to do, but when I do it, some people get fired and some people actually quit. And it's
I
always
bet.
and it's always a great thing though, because it's never been bad. They always say, no, this was great. They were meant to get off the bus. And we were
Uh-huh.
meant to get new people on the bus. And
Totally.
man, so and so got off the bus, and we are thriving as a result of that. And that person gets off and finds somewhere else where they're meant to go because they really were embodied to the vision and mission. There wasn't an alignment, and they wouldn't have been successful anyway. They were slowing the bus down. So that's why I say the energy bus, Carpenter, and the seven commitments of a great team are really a great trinity to read together because they all go hand in hand and they feed each other.
That's amazing. So, what would you say then? What is the number one thing holding people back? I mean, you do a lot of coaching, you got
Yeah.
programs, you've talked to thousands and thousands of people. What's the number one thing that you see holding people back?
Yeah, I get to work with a lot of great superstar athletes who I can't say their names,
Right.
but you see them play all the time, and I get to talk
Hmm.
to a lot of them. And whether them or a top CEO
Hmm.
or salesperson or just a young person starting out in insurance, it's always fear.
Fear.
It's always going to be a fear that's holding them back, often tied to a wound that they've experienced growing up or some experience they've had in their life, some kind of trauma
Hmm.
that led to a disconnection, a separation. And that fear created a divide, a hole in your soul. And in that hole that you have in your soul, you know what fills it? Negativity and worry and anxiety
Ah,
and
yeah.
overthinking. Have you noticed, Chris, that overthinking is always associated with negative thoughts? Like we never say I
Ah,
have too many positive thoughts.
that's true. I never thought about that.
No one lays in bed at night with their thoughts race. Yeah, no one lays in bed at night with their thoughts racing, thinking about how awesome life is. You
Yeah,
know,
that's true.
it's like it's always the negative thoughts,
Huh.
fear, worry, anxiety. You know what the word anxious means?
No.
The root for the Greek word of anxious means to separate and divide. So when you're anxious, you actually feel separate and divided. You feel weak. You feel disconnected. So everything
Wow.
comes down to, am I disconnected and feeling weak and powerless? Or am I
Yeah.
connected, feeling powerful and strong? And this is the book I wrote on the one truth that explains oneness and separateness and high state of mind and low state of mind. So when you're in a low state of mind, the circumstance happens and you think the circumstance has power over you. When you're in a high state of mind, you know the truth. You have power over your circumstance. And the minute you have power over your circumstance and you
Mm,
believe you do, you're in a high state of mind. And now you're operating at a higher level. And that's going to
love it.
cause you to be much more successful. The rejection happens. You're in
Yep.
insurance sales. The rejection happens. So when you're in a low state of mind, you want to quit, you want to give up, you feel like a failure, and that fear of being a failure is holding you back, or that fear that you're not enough, or it attacks you in your identity. I'm a loser, I'm a nothing, I'll never be
Totally.
successful. And as a result of that, that circumstance, that fear lowers your state of mind, you feel powerless, and it causes discouragement and despair. You're in a high state of mind, and that same rejection comes, but you're like, you know what? It's all right. I'll get the next one. I got
Yep.
this. I'll
Yep.
overcome. And then you make
Yep.
10 more calls and then you get a sale, you get a meeting. And after that, you're like, all right, I got this. High state, low state. It all comes down to high state of
Love it.
mind and low state of mind. And once you understand this and actually how thoughts work, then you
Love
become
it.
a Jedi that will allow you to be much more successful.
I love that. There's oh man, the more I listen to you, the more I like see how much synergy and like just commonality there is in the way that we do things. So I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence. So well, I know
No
we're getting up on
coincidence.
time here, but I would I will say this. You've inspired me. I'm gonna start a book club and I'm gonna do a book club and I'm gonna
Love
do
that.
those three books and I'm gonna offer it to anybody on the channel that's following. And I'll do it like a once a week meeting and we're gonna be doing it. So I think it'll be
Sweet.
really
I'm honored. Add the one truth though, Chris, because the one truth
the one
is a
truth.
game changer. Yeah, add the one truth because
All right,
the
give me the
one
order.
truth.
Give me the order.
Yeah. Now, okay, energy bus first.
Okay.
Then we got one truth.
Okay.
Carpenter, seven commitments.
All right.
But if you're already a leader,
Yep.
well, you know what? Everyone needs to work on their mindset. Everyone
Yeah, I was
needs to
gonna say we
understand.
just start, go through the process. Everybody does
Yeah,
it together.
and the reason why one truth is because when you understand how thoughts work and you understand, for instance, that everything comes down to connection and disconnection, and you
Yep.
understand that those negative thoughts that you're having are
Mm-hmm.
not actually coming from you. How do I know? Who would ever choose to have a negative thought? Would you ever choose one? No. That
No, of
thought that
course
says
not.
you should give up, you should quit, you'll never be successful. those thoughts are just coming in, but they're not coming from you. So the key is don't listen to those negative thoughts. Talk to yourself with words of encouragement and words of life. And the more you talk to
Yeah.
yourself instead of listening to those negative thoughts, that's a key of how we overcome. The more you feed the positive every day instead of the negative, because the brain's an antenna. So whatever you're tuning into, you're going to
Yeah.
experience more of. So as I tune into the positive, I tune into success. Like here's a quick practical tip for people that I wrote about in the book. It's real simple. Every night before you go to bed, you write down your success of the day. I know it sounds trivial and silly, but no, write down your success of the day every day. What happens is you go to bed every night a success. You wake up a success. The
Yep.
brain's an antenna. You're now
Hmm.
looking for more and more success. If you don't think this works, I want you to look for blue cars on the road today. You will start seeing more
You
blue
see them
cars
everywhere.
because yeah, the reticular activating system, but the brain is literally an antenna, and there are two main frequencies, positive and negative. That's why everything in this world comes down to positive and negative. It's why every major movie is the battle of the hero and the villain, positive and negative. And so when you are tuning into the positive, you go higher. When you're tuning into the negative, it brings you down. So life is a battle of battling the negative with the positive to win. And that's what the One Truth teaches you. It teaches you literally how to win the battle of your mind, understanding how
Nice.
thoughts work, getting to a higher state of mind more often, and then you'll actually start to experience the fruit of what comes from that state of mind.
That's amazing, man. Well, thank you so much. Guys, I would say this. I'm going to put this book group out there just for fun. I'm actually going to create a little landing page. You can sign up for it. I'm going to make it free. You just got to buy the books. I assume, is there a better place than Amazon to buy your books, or is Amazon
I
good?
think I think Amazon is great, Chris. I want to honor what you're doing, by the way. If you do that, I would love if we could actually do a live Zoom with all of your folks, invite them to from the book club, and let's do a
Let's
Zoom
do it.
coaching call free. Let's do
Thank you,
a free
brother.
one for everyone, and let's bring them on, and
Let's
let's
do
do
it.
a Q&A. Let's support their growth because I want to invest in that.
I love that, man. Well, I appreciate you. That says a lot about you. So, guys, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it in the link in the description. We're going to do a once a week book club. We're going to go through the 4 books. And I'll say this. If you want to be successful in this business, I've been through it all. I've been kicked around when I first got in the business, and I've built to a place now where people look at me and they feel like it was an easy ride. But like if you go talk to my wife, she'll tell you how it was not an easy ride. And um, you know, I think the coaching that you gave on this conversation, John, is so key. I think one of the biggest problems that we have in this industry is people are brought in being told that it's easy. And the reality is it's going to be probably the hardest thing that you ever do, but it's also going to be the most worth it thing that you ever do, because I think that what we do, I can't think of another area where almost anybody has the ability to show up and do it and learn the skill and then be able to go and create a living by creating value to the level that we're able to do it if you do it the right way, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the key. Get plugged into the right team, get plugged into the right community, and build yourself to be a person who can lead and create your own community, right? Like that's what it's all about. And I know actually that's one of the reasons that I was just inspired to do this book club. That's the thought that was going through my mind, is like, if you go through, I talk about this thing called the Life 180 belief loop. It's like we all have beliefs. The beliefs lead to an internal conversation, a narrative leads to a feeling, leads to an action, leads to a behavior, leads to the outcome, right? And so it's like, an outcome always reaffirms our belief. That just
Yep.
happens all the time. And so the first thing that we need to do is change our beliefs to change our thinking, but you don't change your beliefs and thinking without going through and surrounding yourself with the right people, getting the right information so you can reprogram your beliefs. And that's, I think, what we'll be able to accomplish in this club.
That's awesome. I love it. I think that's powerful. And when you have the right beliefs, the right
Yeah.
thinking, you tell yourself the right story
Yeah.
because many of us are telling ourselves a negative story. And that
Totally.
negative story leads to a negative life. And for years, Chris, I told myself a negative story. I started doing this work because I was negative, because I was fearful, because I was anxious. My teammates cannot believe what I'm doing now. They're like, "You were a mental wreck in college." Seriously, they can't believe that this is what I do. And
But you
my
did the
wife,
work.
yeah, my wife threatened to leave me, and I agreed to change, and that began this journey back in 2001 to start working on becoming a more positive person. So I've researched this, I've studied this, I've lived this, I've been on a quest to get better myself, which has turned into a quest to help others get better. That's why I know this so well. But I know that by living these principles and doing what you're doing, thank you so much for the books, because it really is the books that you read that will change your life and
Totally.
change your future, change your thinking. And when
Yep.
you elevate your thinking, you elevate everything. As a man thinks, he becomes. So
Yep.
guess what? You got to start thinking the right way. And that's
Yep.
why I love doing this so much, because I know where I was, I know where I am now, and I know that everyone has the power and the ability to change their thinking. And then it sounds trivial, but it sounds silly, but change their life. You really
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so many people just don't know how to think. So you're going to help them along the way. And that's why that belief and that story is so important. Is your story a
Totally.
drama? Is it a horror
Totally.
story? Or is it an inspirational tale? Well, guess what? In insurance, let's make it an inspirational tale.
I love it. I love it. Well, thanks so much for being here. This has been an absolute honor of mine, and it's been awesome connecting with you. I feel like you're a friend already, and so this is super cool. So, guys, if you have a chance as well, I would really encourage you to support yourself by supporting John and getting his new book too right out of the gate. Because I know how when somebody launches a new book, there's opportunity, bestsellers list, all this stuff, and he's not asking me to tell you this, but I'm going to say, like, go get that book. It's going to change your life. It'll help you learn to be a better leader. It'll help you improve your life in so many ways that we didn't even cover on this talk. It'll support him. It'll support you. Go to Amazon, get the book. I'll put the link in the description below. And is there anything else? How else would people get a hold of you? Do you have any other
Thanks,
things
Chris.
that?
Yeah, they just go to johngordon.com,
Okay.
JON Gordon.com, and
Yeah.
also Instagram. I'm on
Cool.
X. I'm still on X posting, sharing encouragement. And I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. Yeah, you can find me
Nice.
everywhere. So
Okay.
I,
You're
I
all
like to,
all over the place.
I'm always sharing, yeah, information out there and adding
Nice.
value. That's my goal. Add as you do. If we add value,
Yeah.
if we truly add value, and that is our goal, then the value will always come back. That's the key.
Totally.
Again, you're out there selling. You add value to people's lives. And if you do
Yeah.
that, your business is going to be successful.
Totally. Well, thanks so much, man. So, guys, hopefully you found value in this. If you did, please like it, share it, get this out there to people because people need to hear this message. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell that way you're notified every time I launch a new video. I'm also going to put John his YouTube link down below so you can follow him on YouTube. He's actually got some followers on YouTube as well, and he creates some good content there. You can go and learn more there as well. And until next video, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon.